All right, we are back. Welcome back to the pack. Grab a snack. This is the Snack Pack podcast. I'm not going to do counting anymore
because we're too behind. Like, who even knows?
Who cares, too?
I think true. I think this would technically be episode 8.
Or was it 9?
I don't know. Let's stop counting.
Who cares? All right, welcome back to the podcast. What are we talking about today?
There's so much happening. Well, first of all, like, I'm feeling okay now, but like right before we started recording, I had just gotten home from picking up Sparrow and I like walk there and it's not even hot today. Like, it is a perfect, beautiful day out. I don't know. I just started getting like really nauseous. I don't know if it's something I ate. I don't know. Maybe I haven't eaten enough. I don't know what it was, but like I got home and I'm like, I need to lay down. But then all this shit happened that we're going to be talking about today. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to get my ass upstairs and we're going to talk about this on a podcast now.
So hot off the presses.
This could still be a developing story.
It's very new, but I guess the first thing we want to just jump right into, just because it's happening, is the Vangelina Skov stuff that's going on. We've been texting about it as it like kind of broke open.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to talk about with that.
There's a lot to unpack.
So much, especially with both sides, with the alleged plagiarism from Essence of Thought, and Vangelina just put out a video like hours ago. It's brand new. So I watched it on my way home from work. Savannah, you sent it to me and I watched it on my way home from work. And what are our thoughts? Like, what do we got to say?
Well, first of all, I do want to say that I did have a correspondence with Vangelina a few weeks ago because she was, I guess, planning on covering a video that I had made on my main channel like a month ago, but I got a shitload of backlash for it. And I basically told her, like, I sent her everything I had. And I told her, maybe be careful, because, like, the backlash I've gotten, like, I wouldn't wish this shit on my worst enemy, so, like, maybe be careful. And then she never responded after that. So, but she was really nice when I did talk to her. Well, she reached out to me, and then I responded. So she was really nice. I've been a fan of her for a while. I know you have also.
Yeah, I've watched a handful of her videos on various topics, too. So when I saw the Essence of Thought claim, I was very taken back by it.
I think we were both like really disappointed. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Palo, is that like after reflecting a little bit, I'm like, the Essence of Thought video, I don't want to say it's well done, but it's very convincing.
Yeah.
So it was like enough for like when it started, like when you and I both watched it, we were like, holy shit, like I can't believe that Vangelina got like wrapped up in this stuff because the evidence seems convincing.
Yeah.
But that's because we didn't have Vangelina's side.
I have criticisms on both points. I don't know anything about Essence of Thought until this controversy, so I don't.
Me either.
And I know Vangelina in her response video, she kind of gave some background on the potential toxicity of this creator, which really to me wasn't that relevant, but having that context, I can see how Essence of Thought's video kind of was very emotionally charged, with some of the accusations and the way they were going about things. However, when you watch Essence of Thought's video, they really go into very fine details on the points that they're making.
But they also like make points that are irrelevant.
They do.
And like, even to me, like when I was watching it, even like believing what they were saying and being like, holy shit, like, wow, Vangelina like really fucked up here, which I'm going to say right now, I've changed that opinion. But originally I had thought that, of course, because of how convincing it was. I was finding myself being like, well, why would you bring that up? We can get to all that. But like, first, what I think we should do is like, to people who don't know what's going on, we should probably just explain the situation.
Long story short, if you guys don't know, Vangelina put out a video. What was it about Lily something, right? Lily Orchard.
It's someone I don't even know.
Yeah.
Lily Orchard.
So it was a Lily Orchard video that she had put out.
I don't know anything about Lily Orchard. I haven't watched either.
I guess there's a lot of like disturbing accusations against this, I think, creator, and this creator is also within the trans community as well, and there's a lot of like shady stuff going on. But she reported on it, and Essence of Thought is basically accusing Vangelina of plagiarizing the entire piece, or not the entire piece, so actually a specific 12 or 13 minute portion.
Well, Vangelina made one video about it, and Essence of Thought has like
it's a series
6 of them or something. Yeah, they have a whole series about it. So they're basically being like like Vangelina's entire video was plagiarized using Essence of Thought's content.
Because after I watched Vangelina's response, I wanted to kind of skim through Essence of Thought's video again.
I was gonna do that too, but like there just wasn't time.
I was watching some of it, and Essence of Thought points out very specific data points as what they use in their video to confirm the plagiarism. And the data points that they basically go into is basically the screenshots. First of all, Essence of Thought spent over a year, their team spent over a year doing this investigation solo, so they compiled the screenshots by scratch.
And I will say, I'll put this here because I think this is part of the reason why I was like so willing to believe Essence of Thought too, because like I've fucking been there with Illuminati. If you guys haven't watched my Illuminati situation, I was featured in Cruel World Happy Minds video. Madison, she's a friend of mine, interviewing me, and then I put the whole interview on my channel because basically, long story short, what happened is I was part of a group of people who was researching a multi-level marketing company, and we were doing it for weeks or months, really. And Blair did come in. Well, she had her writer come in. She like infiltrated our Facebook group full of weeks and months of research that we had done and basically took it for herself and made a video. Got a shitload more views than any of us combined, and it was really, really frustrating. So to hear any smaller creator come out and be like, hey, you plagiarized me, like, I guess I just have a soft spot for that because it's happened to me with Blair, not only on the Black Oxygen organic shit I did, but also on Olive Tree People and her Gary Young Living video. She's plagiarized me 3 fucking times. All of that being said, I feel like I really like immediately was kind of drawn to this situation because I'm like, fuck, like I know what it feels like to put all of my energy and my heart and my soul into a project and just have it be swept up by a bigger creator who ends up getting far more compensation for their video than I did for compiling all the research and making the video and editing and like
a portion of the work.
Yeah, I felt very connected at first.
Basically, they were able to map it because of the zoom factor, I guess. So that's like how they were able to confirm it was their original screenshot. But they also pointed out that the Lily creator that they were getting these screenshots of on these different websites, Tumblr, whatever it was, they frequently changed their social media pictures. But they had a browser extension that basically, I guess it's known in the trans community to help verify people. Like you can green light or red light people based on like if they're safe or not safe. That's all the context I'm going to give it to it because I don't really know much about it. But
yeah, I've never heard of it.
But Essence of Thought, while they were doing their investigation on this person and compiling the research, they had Lily Orchard's status as green, and some of the screenshots show that green status, also shows the same profile pictures, also has the same zoom factor, and then halfway through their investigation, they changed the Lily's status to a red status, which shows up in their screenshots, profile pictures,
as being someone who's unsafe to the trans community.
And Vangelina's exact screenshots, she'd had to taken the screenshots at the same time. Also, she would have had to use that same extension and also changed the green status to red status coincidentally. Like,
I think that there's no arguing that those screenshots were originally from Essence of Thought. I don't think anyone's arguing that. That's where, to me, it was very convincing because it's like, yeah, obviously these screenshots came from Essence of Thought. So the one thing though that really like it threw me off, it was comical to me that in the video Essence of Thought says, like, they send Vangelina an email and they're like, I believe that I deserve 30% compensation of that month of Patreon for you, that 30% of the sponsor money that you got from HelloFresh, and 30% of the ad revenue that you made from that video, which is fucking laughable, okay? Honestly.
The rationale of that was because of the 13-minute segment or 12-minute segment that equated to 30% of the video, so they think they're entitled to 30% of the revenue from that video.
That is so fucking entitled. Like, I understand that, like, plagiarism is a big deal, and, like, it sucks and, like, it takes compensation away from people. But, like, did you really think that she was just gonna hand over money like that? Even if she was absolutely guilty of it, it's like, that's really bold of you to ask and actually kind of ridiculous. in my opinion, and maybe that's just coming from a content creator standpoint. Credit, definitely. She should have been credited. When content creators like collab, for example, they don't pay each other. Like, I've collabed with people, it's like on their channel, on my channel, there's no exchange of money. Like, there's not really any situations where content creators are paying each other for like research or, you know, and that's where fair use comes in too. Using the screenshots and stuff, like, that's fair use. Like, she's allowed to do that, even if you're like, those are my screenshots, blah, blah, blah.
Essence of Thought did a good job, in my opinion, of proving that those were their screenshots, but
you can
we
use
use portions
them.
of other videos on this shit, you know, on what we're doing here.
Everyone does. Like, welcome to YouTube. Everyone does that shit.
What kind of pushed me more in Essence of Thought's favor was Essence of Thought puts in different points of commentary that kind of corresponds to Vangelina. Not verbatim, because it really wasn't the examples that they used, but it was very similar points of commentary. And it happened more than once, and I think Vangelina only addressed like one point, saying that we had the same thought, which is very valid, because like I rewatched that exact thought that they were talking about, and it was like, yeah, you can come to the same conclusion, that's fine. But there was multiple points of commentary that had that, which was very odd to me. Screenshots, whatever, like, who cares? But when you're allegedly plagiarizing commentary, like your other people's thoughts, like, that pisses me off personally.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you can't have an original thought for yourself, then what are you even doing on the internet, dude?
I'm not discounting Vangelina's counterpoint, but she didn't even go into the screenshot. Like, well, she went into the screenshots a little bit, but she didn't really go into like each specific point that Essence of Thought went into, and Essence of Thought organized all the points.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Vangelina needed to. And maybe this is just because I'm giving her more credit than like the average person was, because like from a content creator perspective, like, I get it. Like, I understand how you could make that mistake. Anyway, we haven't even gotten into what the mistake was or whatever that Vangelina made. But there was also another point in Essence of Thought's video that I was like, I found because I think I was like playing The Sims or something. So I was like kind of like half watching it. But like, she was going into Essence of Thought, I think her name is Ethel. Ethel was going into how she broke her foot or some shit and was like running off and being like, here's how Vangelina plagiarizing me has affected me and my health. And then like started going off about how she broke her foot or some shit. And I remember thinking like, this is really irrelevant. Like, I almost wanted to like fast forward through it, because I'm like, what are you like, I don't care about this. But then, like, I also don't know Ethel. I don't know Essence of Thought. So, like, I'm like, maybe her audience does care about this. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is irrelevant. Like, maybe people want to hear this. But I'm like, to me, I was just like, I don't really care that you broke your fucking foot. And it's also weird that you're trying to pin it on Vangelina. Like, it was weird.
I don't know, because I heard that point and I didn't think of that when I think when I watched that too, I remember that broken foot shit too, and I thought it was kind of weird too. But like, I think they were just kind of giving context to like their mental health and physical health before they decided to make this type of video, which why I didn't interpret it as Essence of Thought blaming Vangelina for their health conditions.
It wasn't blaming Vangelina for breaking her foot. It was like, this caused me so much emotional distress, but I was also going through all this health stuff, so I couldn't respond when I wanted to, the way I wanted to. But the time I spent not being able to respond to it when I wanted to, that's like, oh wow, all this emotional distress. And I'm just like, that's not Vangelina's fault at all.
Some of the bad points of Essence of Thought's video was it just, obviously it's a personal video, so it's like, it's hard to say like you took it too personally, because it's a very personal thing when you're plagiarized and you've got all these things going on with you. But I don't know, they also did a good job going over the facts, you know, taking things point by point and separating it all into different chapters.
They presented it very well. I'll say that. And that's why I was like so willing to jump on this shit, because it was presented well and like it tugged on my heartstrings a little bit, having been through plagiarism myself. I get it. However, Vangelina came out with a response today that you and I like just got done watching. Again, maybe I just have a different perspective on this, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and I'm back on Vangelina's side.
I don't know. I'm still kind of split, because I do think there are valid points that Essence of Thought made that weren't addressed by Vangelina. She did do a great job, though, like, you know, like, she went into the H-bomber guy stuff, which had nothing to do with this.
Okay, I mean, that is one thing I kind of wanted to talk about. And again, like, this is touching on from a content creator perspective, but, like, so when the H-bomber guy thing happened, let me explain that real quick. So Vangelina made a video, like, a few weeks ago, where basically everyone knows what H-bomber video that we're talking about here, right? Like, it's his most recent one. He makes, like, one video a year. It was, like, a 4-hour-long video about Illuminati and, what's that other guy's name?
There was a bunch of creators, but, like, I wanted to kind of, James Somerton, which is one of the topics we wanted to get to, hopefully. Illuminati, and there was that video game creator. There was like a handful of creators that kind of got the H-bomb dropped on them, you know?
Yeah, dude, and it was a really good video. Like, it was a great fucking video. Well, so there is a portion in there where H-bomber guy basically says that drama channels are low effort, basically the scum of YouTube. Vangelina made a video basically being like, how dare he say that? Like, pretty much like saying she disagreed with it. And when I watched it, and I feel like I messaged you about it, I was just like, I think Vangelina just made a video that I disagree with. But, like, it was so unserious. Literally just a difference of opinion. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell Vangelina that she can't feel offended by that. Like, I understand why she feels offended, but to me, I'm just like, who gives a shit? It's like H-bomber guy's opinion. He doesn't like drama channels. Okay, Vangelina Skov doesn't like that he said that our content is low effort. Okay, cool. And then to me, I'm just like, I don't think it's that serious, so oh well. Like, I'm not gonna fucking cancel her over that. I'm just like, the way, because she ended up deleting the video because she said she got hounded by people, like, really, really furious at her. And I just gotta say, dude, if you're one of the people who got mad about that, you need to fucking chill. It makes me so mad. And, like, I felt really bad for Vangelina because I'm like, it is unserious. It's like literally just an opinion, and it's not a problematic opinion at all. Like, so people are just really mad because they're like, well, I thought it was a good video, and I'm gonna come to defense of H-bomber guy. It's like, no one cares. Like, at the grand scheme of things, like, this doesn't change anything, so why are people so upset?
It all goes back to, like, H-bomber guy gave his opinion, she gave her opinion, the public can give their opinion, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not saying that, like, oh, the people who were upset at her, like, had no right to be upset at her, but to me, like, what it more so is I'm like, why are you putting that much energy into being so fucking mad about something so minimal? Like, if I watch a YouTube video and it's not about a really serious topic and, like, someone is saying something that I'm like, I probably wouldn't say that, I'm not even gonna leave a fucking comment. It's just kind of like, all right, well, that's just how they feel. That's cool. And as long as, like, the rest of their content isn't problematic, it's like, okay, we just, like, it's water under the bridge. I disagree with what they said. There we go. And it wasn't even a big deal. Vangelina brought it up because people were basically being like, why aren't you responding to this? And it's just like, Vangelina's like, I didn't think I had to. Like, the whole thing is really, really wild. So she just got out of a controversy that was ridiculous. So, like, for her to be dealing with all this shit from Ethel, like, I really feel for her. From a person to person, like, it really sucks getting backlash on the internet, dude.
Yeah, to have the internet come after you, that's...
Sorry, I keep, like, itching my nose. I think, like, Pippi was on my lap, and I'm allergic to her, and so now my nose is just really itchy. I'm not, like, picking my nose. It's just, like, itchy. So, but Vangelina's response, her explanation, I guess, is what you would say, is that she got a lot of the research from Kiwi Farms and Tumblr and Reddit. And I will say, as someone who regularly has used Reddit as, like, a source, I guess maybe it's different because, like, the shit I talk about is about MLM distributors and stuff. Sometimes those are, like, the only sources, like, those are the only places I can find anything out about anything. But I'm always usually trying to be like, hey guys, I got this from Reddit, like, just so everybody knows, like, don't take this as fact, it's just something I saw on Reddit, whatever. Like, but I get it though. I understand using Reddit as a source, and it's even worse for fucking Kiwi Farms, dude. Like, holy shit, Kiwi Farms, you know what Kiwi Farms is?
I got context from her video, and then I kind of Googled it a little bit, so I know it's not, I know it's, like, not...
I've never gone on Kiwi Farms.
I didn't even know about it until her response.
It's basically a forum
it's like a low-calorie
where...
shit.
Yeah. It's just a forum for people to go talk shit, like mad shit, the worst of the worst, scum of the earth things that you could ever say about a person, whether they deserve it or not, is usually going to end up on that website. So, but she used that as a source. So, because it's an open forum, same with Tumblr and Reddit, anyone can go post anything on those platforms. And so what I believe happened, and what I think she was trying to get across, was that someone else like got whatever those screenshots were from Essence of Thought's videos, posted them on Kiwi Farms or Tumblr or Reddit, and then since she was researching on those platforms, she ended up seeing those.
Essence of Thought's video came out over a year ago on this series, right? So if you're doing research today and you're trying to find compiling evidence, like you're probably going to come across these images, right? Like it's on the internet. The internet is kind of forever with stuff like this. So I think what Essence of Thought's main criticisms about Vangelina is the sequencing kind of matches up with their script, apparently.
But if it's chronological, like it's like, how can you like sequence it differently if they're both like, if you're just telling like a story from chronological order, it's like, yep, the sequencing is going to be the same because that's how time works. It makes sense. All of it makes sense. Like, I believe her. I do. I don't think that Vangelina watched all of Essence of Thought's videos and was just screenshotting, and then putting it in her own video. I don't think that's what happened. I do understand why Essence of Thought thinks that's what happened, because like you said, it was a very emotionally charged response. And I get it. But I mean, okay, so Essence of Thought did reach out to Vangelina, sent her an email. Vangelina did not respond because she felt like Essence of Thought was trying to extort her / blackmail her. When I was watching Essence of Thought's video, I was like, that's really extra and she shouldn't have done that. But like, that was all coming from the perspective that like these allegations were true. Now knowing that like, oh, okay, there's actually an explanation behind why Vangelina used those screenshots, where she got them from, and it makes sense to me on a logical perspective. That was way out of line for you to ask for money. And it's no wonder, because like, if I'm Vangelina and I'm sitting here like, this person is saying that I did this YouTube video and I plagiarized them. I've never heard of them in my life. I don't know who this person is.
That's what confused me on her video, was because she doesn't know who they are, but she also knows that they're this person who's very emotionally charged and has beef with one of her friends. So it's like, do you know them? Do you not know them?
I think she didn't put 2 and 2 together at first when she started getting these emails. Like, I mean, drama channels, content creators, like, they're a dime a dozen, dude. We're all over the place, okay? I don't blame her for not immediately being like, oh, that's that person who keeps making videos about my friend, whoever that is.
I don't know context behind that at all, so.
Maybe some other content creators would have that like memory, like locked into memory, and then they see that name and they're like, oh, I know exactly where that's from. But I don't do that. Like, there are so many people, like even people that I talk to on like a daily basis sometimes, and I'm like, where do I know you from again? Like, and then I have to like go scroll through their shit and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember now. I have terrible memory.
It's good having this discussion with you, because I see this from like, I see this as an audience perspective. Like, I don't know the behind the scenes of content creators and how crazy it is to like juggle information, and probably too, I didn't even like how much fucking hate you're getting, or just any correspondence or business emails or whatever. Yeah. Like, I didn't really think about any of that. So
it gets really, really overwhelming. But that's also coming from me, who has ADHD, and also like I can't fucking focus on anything ever. So like, I feel like my information retention is not as good as other people's. So, but you know, and I don't know Vangelina's brain, but maybe it works the same way. Like, I don't know. I always just try to like be empathetic, because I'm like, well, I know how my brain works, and I also know that there are people whose brains work differently that wouldn't understand that my brain works this way. So like, but I guess I can't say, oh, that's definitely how Vangelina's works too. But it's like, when you're a content creator, you're being constantly like thrown information, and like there's all these names you have to remember, and like, I mean, I talk to a lot of people in DMs and stuff. Like, people will send me DMs on Instagram, and then like they'll come into my live chat later, and then like on if I'm streaming or something, and be like, I really appreciate our conversations that we have on Instagram. And I'm like, I'm so fucking sorry, but I don't know who you are. Like, even if I'm like talking to them like once a week or something, I'm like, I don't, remembering names, remembering people, you know, that to me, she easily gets a pass for that.
I think Vangelina did a good job rationalizing it and explaining everything too. Like, it totally makes sense. But I just kind of have, for me, I just have a soft spot for like people being taken advantage of, and that's just
me too.
Just like, if that's what happened here, I don't like that, you know. But
that's what I'm saying though, is I don't think that's what happened. Because what Vangelina said makes sense to me, especially given with like how emotionally charged Essence of Thought's video was, and how they like went out of their way to like
contact sponsors really, and shit like that. Like, dude.
Oh yeah, like, let's talk. Yeah,
about that. Like there's criticisms on both sides. I shouldn't be the one to be like, this is how you should respond. But like, I don't know. I just felt like if it were me, but I'm not a regular creator at all by any means. If it were me, I would take what like each point and just be like, this is the explanation for this, this is the explanation for this is where I got that, you know. Right. And I don't think she really did that clearly. She just kind of like batched it all, like kind of in chunks addressed it, but whatever, like she still addressed it and she still took accountability and she still like apologized for, you know, how she could have done better and promised to do better. Well,
I don't remember how many screenshots Essence of Thought like showcased or whatever, but to me, I'm like, I feel like if Vangelina had gone what you're saying, gone screenshot by screenshot and been like, this is where I got this screenshot, this is where I got the, like, first of all, it's kind of
a series of screenshots, I guess, you know, because it was all Tumblr screenshots, I believe. I would have wanted to hear more about the commentary plagiarism. You know, she does explain like, yeah, we came up with the same thought, which is very plausible. And I rewatched the exact part that she was talking about, and it's like a general thought, like after getting the context, you know, but there was a couple other thoughts that were presented by Essence of Thought that she didn't talk about.
Yeah, I can understand the thought thing. I mean, but I also, like, on the other side of it, I'm just kind of like, she explained that, you know, on the one, it's just kind of like, okay, like, we had the same thought, like, what else do you want me to say?
From the context of just these two videos, the Lily Orchard seems like they allegedly could be some type of predator towards children, and when you're talking about that, I think the example was they both came to the same thought conclusion, was like Lily Orchard was asking or receiving nudes openly, and they both came to the same thought, like, how do you know those nudes didn't come from children, you know? And that's like a valid thing. But there were a couple other like video sequences that the Essence of Thought showcased that matched up with their research versus the sentences that she presented.
Let's also consider this though. Vangelina did all of her research on, you know, Tumblr and Kiwi Farms and stuff. All of the content that's submitted to those platforms, Reddit, Tumblr, Kiwi Farms, are all posted by individual different people. So it's most likely that however those were posted, were also accompanied by other people's opinions as well. It's entirely possible that she was influenced by whatever those people were writing. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I agree with that. And did that person watch? I mean, obviously whoever posted those screenshots watched Essence of Thought's video because they screenshotted everything and posted it to Tumblr. That person could have been influenced by Essence of Thought's ideas and been like, oh yeah, I agree with that, and then like reworded it, posted it on Tumblr or whatever. And then Vangelina did the same thing, like found these screenshots and was like, oh yeah, that's a valid opinion, that's valid you know.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like, let's say I made a video about a topic a year ago, and then a year later you decide you want to research that same topic. Chances are you're gonna, whether it's my direct video or not, you're gonna find correspondence research that I put out to the world already, right? And you're going to compile that and then use that in your video, right? So it's just like,
but it might not even be intentional, I guess, is what I'm saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you put, like, I put that video or information out into the internet. The internet, you know, like, that narrative is out, whatever that context is out, and you research it a year later and you're reading that context. Whether it might not have came directly from my video, it could have been, like you said, like, somebody who watched my video and, like, posted about it and with the same, you know, we're kind of saying the same thing here. So I totally get that. But I also wanted to criticize too, because I wanted to play devil's advocate and just kind of criticize Vangelina while you're defending her. But to criticize Essence of Thought as well, I do think they didn't wait long enough to like get a valid response from Vangelina before they started coming after sponsors, and I think that's just a little.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that's I think that's
yeah.
taking things a little too far, and that
Oh,
really.
way too
I really
far.
think too, if you wanted to validate your point better, you don't do that. Don't play dirty like that. Like present what you had to present because it captured people. It got the conversation going, and then you
Yeah.
started kind of getting a little dirty, like foul play with it. You know.
I have a very, very big problem with people who go and they contact a sponsor of someone they disagree with. I think that's taking things way too far, because at that point, and that's the thing too, is that Essence of Thought admitted in her video, I won't stop until I watch your reputation burn or something.
I didn't know that she had said that until Vangelina pointed out. That's very radical.
That was not the only moment where I was like, whoa, calm down. Like, watching her video. But again, emotionally charged, I get it. Like, sometimes we say shit, you know, that's a little bit extreme, and then, like, you need time to cool down and think about it and be like, okay, maybe I don't think that. Regardless, there were a few moments in Essence of Thought's video where she did that.
It's not a good move to do that if that's where you're at with that. And you got to think too, Essence of Thought, like their video series was, over a year ago. Like, people are allowed to cover the same topics and hopefully transform it into their own way and have their own thoughts and opinions and like give their own context about it. The video series is over a year old. So like kind of like the conversation we were talking about earlier, and the example of me having a video a year ago, you researching it nowadays, like that research is like, it's kind of like spread its way through the internet. How long it's been, it's not, it doesn't need to be solely contextualized in your video at this point. You put the information out there, the different communities took it, and like that information's out there. If this Lily Orchard person is as terrible of a person that Vangelina and Essence of Thought discuss, if they're that terrible, like, wouldn't we want more people to be aware of what's going on with this creator or with this person?
Yes, you definitely would, but you also don't, you need to, like, consider the ethics of how you do that, though, and it's not ethical to just plagiarize someone and rip off their video. Like, I don't think it's ethical. Like, if Essence of Thought really spent a year making this series, which I believe that they did, like, I know how much research goes into this shit. I absolutely believe that they have every right to protect their content and to protect their intellectual property, and like, fair use aside, you know, if someone's plagiarizing your shit, she absolutely has every right to call it out. I think the issue is how she went about it, like you said, contacting the sponsors and stuff. I was gonna say that, like, Vangelina had no intention of responding anyway. Does it really matter how long, if they were like waiting for a response, because they weren't gonna get it anyway? To me though, like, from a personal standpoint, it's like, you're clearly heated, you're clearly emotional, you probably shouldn't be making decisions and shit while you're this heated. Like, you need to take several seats and chill the fuck out, come back to the internet tomorrow, and then ask yourself, is this appropriate behavior? Should I be tagging HelloFresh and telling them to stop sponsoring Vangelina because she's plagiarizing me? Like, they did not have that side of the story.
I didn't know that until her response. I didn't know that context. So, like, that kind of, like, to me, kind of delegitimized Essence of Thought's main points. Because I didn't know that side of the story. I just had what Essence of Thought presented, which was, in my opinion, at that time, which was like yesterday, concise, like, points, you know, point, against her. And yeah, Vangelina adding that extra context definitely, like, lets you see a bigger picture. I don't want to say the whole picture, because there might be more to the behind the scenes with these guys. I know they have beef within each other's friend groups or some shit like that. So I guess this feud runs deeper than just this Vangelina, just this plagiarism controversy. But I just think things could have been handled better on both sides. I don't want to say that this creator or Essence of Thought Ethel is entitled to a response, but like, I don't know. I just feel like if they have all this evidence to support a plagiarism claim, like, wouldn't you want to try to, like, hash things out and, like, or at least, like, get to the bottom of it, and then maybe come to the conclusion, like, okay, this person's a little, in my opinion, unhinged and can't be talked to, I'm gonna step away. You know, I don't think she really gave Ethel that courtesy, which she doesn't need to. She doesn't need to respond to her at all. But I think that the blatant, purposeful non-responsiveness of it charged Ethel further into being a little bit more vicious and radical that they're being right now.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Again, from a content creator standpoint, it's like people will email, like my email address is literally like work with Savannah Marie. It is a business email. And a lot of people will still email it, like email me personal shit just to be like, I didn't know how to best reach you. You have your Instagram. Like, I just went into your message requests for Instagram and blah, blah. It's like, yeah, like I have my message requests on for a reason because like I don't have the time to sit here and read. That's why I have a manager. That's why I have someone managing my emails. Like I have message requests go to on Instagram because I don't have the time. I have the same 24 hours in every single day that everyone else has. I don't have the time to fucking read and respond to every single message I ever get, every single comment I ever get. It's just unfeasible. And I think it's very common with content creators to be selective about who you respond to. And even when it comes to criticism and stuff, it's like, you gotta pick your battles. And when someone is like blackmailing you, and I don't want to say that that's what Ethel was intentionally trying to do, but I understand why Vangelina would be like, it felt like they were blackmailing me because they were asking for money. They're like, I think I'm entitled to 30% of your profit from that video. It's like, that's insane. I'm sorry. That's wild. So I understand why Vangelina would be like, I'm not engaging with this person. That's absurd. Maybe anyone else who's never kind of been in this like headspace and situation, they wouldn't get it.
I
it's
don't
hard.
have like a million emails a day, you know. I don't, so it's
Yeah.
totally a total different perspective, which is it's a lot more fun discussing this with the content creator because like that's my thought, like that's, you know, as an audience member or as a person who doesn't know anything about all the stuff that goes behind YouTube and being a content creator, you know?
I just think that content creators don't get enough credit for being human beings. Like, if that makes sense. It's really hard because I see both sides, because coming from someone who's never been a content creator before, never been an influencer before, can look at YouTubers, for example, and be like, they have the easiest job in the world. Like, how dare they complain about anything? I get that sentiment, but it's like, once you're in it, it is so hard. I mean, I've had real jobs. I've worked for giant retail chains and shit. Like, I've been in the workforce. Like, I understand how fucking hard it is to have a real job. But, like, every job comes with its issues and with its struggles. And what I've understood about being a content creator since I started doing this full time is the biggest struggle is being just seen as a human, like as an equal to the people who watch you. Like, it's really, really hard because like I turn off the camera and I go, I mean, you know, you and I have been best friends for like 20 fucking years. Like, I turn off the camera and I go downstairs and I be a mom and I do housework and I chill and I like try to enjoy myself and just like wind down and go to sleep and eat and like I do all these things, but there is this stigma where people don't, like, there are people who don't get that. Like, we're dancing monkeys for these people. And I don't want to be ungrateful. It's really hard to talk about this also without sounding ungrateful, because I am eternally grateful. Like, being a YouTuber, despite all of the bullshit, is my dream job. Like, I went to film school. I wanted to do editing for a job, and I do that now. And that's fucking amazing. I would never try to be ungrateful to the people who made that happen for me. But it does get really mentally taxing when people don't like give you that courtesy of being like, oh, you make mistakes just like you and I do. You have a life outside of this just like you and I do. You have to pay bills. You have to take care of a family. You have to do all these things. Like, sorry to rant about this, but like it really and again, also, it's like a very vocal minority that treats you like that. But from a mental health perspective, it's like you get 10 comments that are positive and one that's negative, and the one that sticks with you is going to be the negative one. And I don't know the psychology behind that, but it's a real fucking thing, and it really, really affects your mental health. And I don't know. I guess that all of this is to say that I understand where Vangelina's coming from. Like, I do. I think she made a mistake by not openly being like, this screenshot came from Tumblr, this one came from Reddit, because every time I use a source from those platforms, like, I usually want to shout it out and be like, hey, this is from Reddit, just so, like, everyone knows. It's like, don't take it as fact, like, some random fucking person wrote this. But, you know, also at the same time, some very valid and important information can come from those platforms or whatever. But it is important to specify, like, this is where I got this specific source because of the nature of those platforms, I guess. That's my only real criticism of Vangelina, because, like, I understand the rest of it. I understand how you could make that mistake.
Overall, I actually do agree with you. I was just trying to play devil's advocate for content.
No, devil's advocate is
for content,
great.
but no,
Palo.
overall, no.
Yeah.
Vangelina did a great job responding. She didn't take long to respond either. Essence of Thought's video came out a day or two ago, and she's already putting up a response. And
I want to say like 3 days ago, maybe.
Yeah. No, it's actually 2 days ago. I'm on the video right now. Essence of Thought's Essence of Thought's video was 2 days ago. Vangelina just responded. She actually provided a lot of context in her video. She gave a lot of explanations in her video. And people can come to the same conclusions with the same research data available. Essence of Thought, you also put out that you made your research accessible for somebody else to use, without directly ripping your research off. So if it's out there in the internet and someone found it and then made a video topic about it, like, it's kind of fair game, you know?
It is, but you should still credit the people that you're using their content for. Like, and it's really not hard to do that. In this case with Vangelina, she didn't know where those screenshots came from. She's like, someone posted these on Tumblr, so I used them. You know what I mean? I guess in like other situations though, like if I'm doing a research piece and I'm using clips from someone's video and like me, even if it's just their opinion, I'm gonna put the full ass clip in there and I'm gonna be like, this is where you can find this video. Like, here's the name of this video. Is it on YouTube? Who posted it? And that's just a courtesy, really.
That's how it should be too. You should have an on-screen credit, and I think that's why the H Bomber Guy video is so important, because it really opened people's eyes up to like what's going on. And I think you and I were texting back and forth about this whole topic, and I think one of the texts that you sent me was like, if there's a content creator that's being able to put out content in a rapid rate, they're more than likely plagiarizing, which is like pretty true from what we've seen. And a lot of times what they'll do is they won't put on-screen credits. They will pretend that the thoughts are their own, and they'll go out of their way to not credit the creator in their sources. Like, they'll blatantly go, like, they'll put sources and then they won't put the direct source that they're like plagiarizing from, which is kind of going into the next topic that we're going to jump into, because we're going to talk about James Somerton too. And I kind of also wanted to just kind of skim over all of the quote unquote victims of the H Bomber Guy video, because it's really interesting, since it's been so many months since that video dropped, what's happened to each individual creator. And
and I don't know any of that. All I know is stuff about Blair, which I mean, she's a fucking train wreck. I can't look away from that stuff.
And her situation, like, she's just tanking. Like her YouTube career is literally over. And James Somerton too, it's looking that way when we dive into that. Like, that's wild. And then there's one I think the first creator that he goes into, which was I believe it's the IGN video game editor from the beginning. I haven't explored the aftermath of that guy yet, but I would bet it's
definitely do that.
I bet it's very similar, but that's next on my like topic plate.
I mean, how many views does that H Bomber Guy video have now? Like millions.
It's like, last time I checked, 19 million or something.
17 million
in 3 months.
I mean,
like, that's insane.
That is insane, and also just like a very influential piece of media. I understand why Vangelina decided to respond as quickly as she did. Plagiarism is a very, very serious accusation, especially in this field, and she needed to get out ahead of it immediately. And I'm glad she did. I think she knew she had to, especially the content she makes. She makes a lot of content about Illuminati. For her to be accused of plagiarism, that's like a really, really big thing. And yeah, so it makes sense why she came out so fast with it. But also with the H Bomber Guy video, for example, like she didn't respond to that because she didn't feel like the accusations were serious enough that there was any merit behind it, that it didn't warrant a response until now that she's in other shit. And like I also understand that, like, because like I'm in a situation now where it's been over a month, but sometimes people are still like showing up on my other videos and being like, I demand an apology for this video you made that I disagree with. And I'm like, I'm not sorry for it. Like, you're accusing me of lying, and I'm like, I didn't lie. You're accusing me of this and that and this and that. I'm like, I didn't do any of the things you're telling me to apologize for, so I'm not gonna apologize. And I think Vangelina had the same headspace regarding the H Bomber Guy video. It's just kind of like, yeah, people are really mad, but like, they're accusing me of hating H Bomber Guy when I don't. They're accusing me of being low effort. They're accusing me of this. And it's like, I'm not here to say how much effort Vangelina puts into her content. She does edit decently, and researching takes a long time. So as long as she's doing the research herself and then she's also editing, her editing is fine. I mean, define low effort, right? I think that's kind of a subjective
Right, I would
term.
even argue what we're doing is low effort. We're just talking about
talking
about shit, you know, and just giving our thoughts on that. So we're not even like
No, I'll be the first one to come out and say, like, I know what is high effort and low effort, and this is low effort.
Very low effort, and that's why I'm here. But yeah, no, like, I guess in conclusion, I think it was a good Vangelina. I think she did a really good job addressing things quickly. Like I said, to be devil's advocate, I think maybe she could have taken some of these specific points and dissected them, but at the end of the day, she doesn't owe anyone a response or an apology, like you said. And
for this, she does, I think. Well, not an apology, because I don't think she did anything wrong, but definitely she needed to respond.
With Essence 100%. Of Thought, like I get how personal, like, to get your years long of research stolen, and someone else profiting more than you off of it. But like, that research was done over a year ago, and you put that research out for people to access it and talk about it and react to it. You know, that's what happens on the internet. And and I think you really delegitimized your case when you started taking things very personal, basically vowing to go after her reputation and message sponsorships. I think that's when you kind of started to slip. I think if you didn't do those things and you stuck to your clear points and wanted an explanation for that, I think you might have had a better argument. But unfortunately, like, you don't get anywhere playing like that, man. It's
gonna be so interesting to see how she responds now, because you know she's going to. Like, she'll make a response video for sure. It will be interesting because she can go one of two ways. She can either be like, oh, what Vangelina said actually does make sense, but like, here, let's have like this, which I think also this part is important, and I think we should be talking about this. Let's have this wider discussion about crediting people, because I don't think that Vangelina intentionally took her research. I don't think she did. She was doing her own research, and the sources she got her shit from got their sources from somewhere else. Then they didn't source it. I think
what Ethel probably should have done too, and maybe her initial reach out to Vangelina was like, "Hey, this is my script. These are the parts where I think you had plagiarism. These are my screenshots," and present it to her. And then maybe Vangelina had been like, "Oh shit, let me credit you. Let me put the on-screen credits," or whatever she needed to do to rectify it.
Her original email to Vangelina was very accusatory and not in the best of tones. I don't want to tone police anybody, but like, if you attract more honey, or no, what is it? You attract more flies with honey than shit, or something like that, whatever the fuck that saying is. Just like, be professional, be chill about it. I don't know. But anyway, so she could go that direction, or Ethel could buckle the fuck down and be like, nope, she plagiarized and and I'm still gonna like go on this rampage and this anti-Vangelina shit. And if she does that, like, that to me says that Ethel is not a logical person. Ethel is not an empathetic person. I understand I do. And I want to reiterate, like, I understand how serious plagiarism is. I understand what it feels like. However, I don't believe that that's what happened. I believe that this is kind of a mistake. I don't know. I mean, if she buckles down and goes on a hate campaign against Vangelina after this, to me, that's fucked up. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself if you do that shit. Instead of just, like, being a decent human being and, like, having a conversation back and forth and being like, oh, like, I see your side. Like, just acknowledge her side.
From what she had read from Ethel, came to the conclusion that this isn't someone that she should engage with, right? Like, so, obviously, I think, Ethel, your approach was a little not having an open conversation.
Honestly, I get it. Like, if I had received an email like that, I don't know, I guess it depends, but I might be inclined not to engage either. I guess it just depends on the situation, but like, you know, every situation is going to be different, but like, again, this is something else that I can understand from Vangelina's perspective. Like, I get why you wouldn't want to engage in that situation, because, like, here's another example that I've learned a lot from this, is that there was one situation where there's this person who's like, there's a whole like anti-MLM community. Have you heard of it?
You told me about it.
Yeah, I probably
Where
have.
they hate on like anti-MLMers, right?
Yeah, there's a subreddit for it and everything. It's fucking insane. But so there's one big player on that side. I'm not gonna say her name or anything like that. But basically, when it all started, before it was like this huge anti-MLM thing, it's like fucking insane. There was one person who randomly one day tagged me, Cece Suarez, and Isabella Lanter in a post on Instagram, and basically said, like, I'm gonna expose you all, blah, 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 blah. And, like, in the caption of the picture, she said, like, I've tried to reach out to you guys and you're all ignoring me and you're blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I've never heard of you in my life. I'm like, I've never received... I went and checked all my DMs. Like, I went to see if I could pull up anything, any correspondence from this person at all, and I had zero. And so I responded to them, even though, because what they had done is that they emailed Chelsea, Cece, and they had like a very negative tone at the get-go, and Chelsea did respond to her and said, I have no desire to have any correspondence with you. But to me, I saw that and I was like, okay, we haven't had any correspondence, so like, I don't want you coming out here and like spreading shit about me, saying that like I'm ignoring you and your valid concerns and stuff. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, I must have missed the messages you sent me, like, do you want to have a conversation? And I came at it from a genuine point of like, I just felt like there was a misunderstanding. So we ended up talking through email. I spent hours writing out like long emails to this person. In our email correspondence, this person seemed really understanding. They seemed really chill. And I felt like we were having like a productive conversation until they went to my friend Savvy. Savvy Writes Books. They sent her an email tying her in with the anti-MLM hate, but then also said like, oh, by the way, let Savannah know that she needs to stop using her miscarriages for empathy or something like that. Because this is what happened. In the email thread, she was talking about being disappointed with content creators. I don't remember exactly who she was talking about or what it was, but I related back to her. I said, I totally understand. Like, this is me trying to, like, reach a common ground here. I was like, and it's not a secret that I've had miscarriages. Like, I talk about it all the time. But so I wrote back to her. I said, I understand, you know, with the whole Gus Johnson situation. Gus Johnson was a very successful comedy YouTuber. I used to love him. I thought he was so funny. And it came out that he got his girlfriend pregnant. She ended up having an ectopic pregnancy and almost fucking died. But he was very shitty to her through that whole situation. Before they knew the pregnancy was ectopic, he was trying to be like, get an abortion, get an abortion, get an abortion. And she was like unsure about it. She felt pressured to get an abortion, even though she says like, oh, I probably would have anyway. But then it almost took her fucking life. And he was out like having dinner with friends and like, I don't know. It was like, it was really a really shitty situation. So I told her, I said, you know, I've been there, like I've had reproductive issues before. I've had miscarriages. And so when this came out about Gus Johnson, I unfollowed him on everything. So like, it's not like I was just using it for empathy. I was giving an example and being like, here's why I relate to you and I understand what you're saying, because like, and also just being vulnerable. Like, vulnerability can usually like build trust between people, but instead what this person did is went to Savvy, sent her emails, started talking shit about what I said to her. And I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you? Then she was just saying like, haha, Savannah, you're too stupid to see that I was just trolling you and just trying to get information out of you and stuff. I'm like, you're just a shitty person, dude. Like, you are a shitty fucking person. All of this is to say, I understand when you get an email, like, I learned so much from that, is that, like, if someone is giving you red flags and they're coming out really aggressively from the gate, there's no reason to engage with them at all. And I learned that the hard way. So I understand all of this is to say that when Vangelina gets an email from someone literally trying to be like, give me money because you plagiarized me, and she's like, I didn't plagiarize you, you're not going to engage with that. It's crazy. Like, it feels crazy. It's like, that is a different reality. My reality is I did not plagiarize you. I have no money to give you. I have no explanation to give you. I didn't do the thing you're accusing me of. And then she just didn't respond. It makes sense.
And at least Vangelina too, at the very end of it, she's like, okay, I can acknowledge that you were the origin source for some of this stuff, like that, that's how I ended up finding it. Whether I didn't find it directly through you, but you were the one who put this out over a year ago or whenever it was.
Now, I haven't looked at her sources, but it's entirely possible that the Tumblr blog and Kiwi Farms and whatever that she got those screenshots from didn't list Essence of Time as a source, so Vangelina wouldn't have even known where those screenshots came from in the first place.
They were already floating around the internet for a year, you know? To play devil's advocate, so like, while we're concluding... Okay. This is the first time that I know of that Vangelina has had a plagiarism accusation. So if it pops up again from a different creator or H Bomber guy type situation, that's going to be very telling, which sucks. It sucks to have that connotation behind your channel now. But hopefully this is the only one. If
there is a pattern of behavior, then that's when you should really start being like, oh shit, maybe we should look back at these accusations from Essence of Time.
And with H Bomber guy, with his video, with all of the people that he basically called out, they all had people trying to say like, you're plagiarizing, like they had a history of doing it, and they were just able to sweep it under the rug, right? Because no one big like H Bomber guy called them out for it, you know? I'm with you with the Vangelina response. Like, I think it was overall warranted, and I think she was totally in the right to not respond when she chose to, and, you know, just do the things that she did in the right way, and then the way she responded to address every point, to address even to touch on the H Bomber guy situation too, because that was unaddressed, and I think it was really relevant to do that because people were linking the two together, you know. It makes sense that you didn't like his video because you're a plagiarist, you know. So that's what she. Yeah. So I think she did a good job handling that, and hopefully there's no pattern. That's all we can say. If there's a pattern, then you know, I'm gonna talk about it. Yeah, I'm gonna say some stuff about it. But hopefully this is just like a one and done deal, and maybe she just came across a not favorable person along her YouTube journey, and that's all it is.
I think she will definitely learn from this situation and not make the mistake again. I think she'll definitely like be more careful with how she sources things. I feel that. I mean, at least say I got this from Reddit, I got this from, you know, so that people aren't like being like, oh, well, you're just stealing sources, or you're stealing ideas, you're stealing thoughts and stuff. And it's like,
I really think on-screen credits too, like, I don't know if that's the norm. I didn't watch her Lily Orchard video too, so like there's that there's that context I am missing. But like, if you're taking sources, and I see this all the time in videos I even watch too, if you're not putting, like, you should be putting on-screen credit for things that that wasn't originally your creation, you know? I think that should be,
I mean, if you know where it came from.
I think that should be the standard, but
I think H Bomber Guy's video has been doing that. It's really been like showing people like, this is what you need to do properly. And it's funny because like, go back to fucking middle school and high school, and it's like they're teaching us what a bibliography is and how to cite our sources and shit. How come we've all forgotten?
School sucks, like, and I hated that.
I know, but it's a good refresher though, like, because it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we did learn about this shit in school and we all need to properly cite our sources. If there's one thing we've actually learned from school that's relevant in what we're doing now, it's like, I think citing our sources is something that we all need to probably be better about on this platform. I think we're all learning and growing and trying to do better and stuff day by day here. So it's like, I just think people need to be extended a little bit more grace in these departments, because like sometimes it's just like you have to like there's always one person to be made an example out of, like Blair, for example, with the plagiarism. She's definitely the example that we all learned from, but it sucks to be Blair, you know?
You should see when we get into these other people, like imagine Blair but just other people's bodies, like it's the same. You know, it's crazy. But we've been recording for an hour and a half, or almost an hour and a half. Let's wrap this up. Let us know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with Ethel? Do you agree with Vangelina? Like, let's have that discussion.
Also, I will say that I acknowledge that there's probably some parts to the story that maybe we skipped over and like are forgetting and like didn't consider while we're making this opinion piece here. So like, by all means, as long as you're like chill about it, being like, hey, you guys forgot about this part and this changes the entire, like my entire thoughts and feelings about this specific thing, like let us know in the comments. Did we miss something? Like, am I missing something? Because I feel like I'm on Vangelina's side, like 99%.
And I was too, but I wanted to, I didn't want us to just kind of like shit on Ethel. Like, I really didn't. I really wanted to hear Ethel's side, and I wanted to, that's why before we started, I kind of just skimmed through their video one more time, because I was like, all right, I'm going to throw this point at you and this point at you. Because I think it was just relevant to do and give everyone a fair chance and let, you know, it's very fair. You know, just like present both sides, you know?
Also, please don't go and send hate to either of those people, please. That's also something that needs to be extended. I mean, I think that should be the most common fucking thing. Like, if it's just like, I mean, internet drama and shit like this, it's like, don't go like harassing people. Stop. What are you doing? Like, we're all still people here. So like, chill out.
Agreed.
That's
agreed.
Yeah.
All right, but let's wrap this up. It was great doing another episode, you guys. We will have more coming soon. We both are in a more stable place in our lives, I think, a little bit. So we're able to finally get that. We keep saying that. But anyways, thanks for watching.
We'll be saying that for the next 20 years at least, so... Palo did just get a new job, so, you know, that will explain why maybe our schedules are all over the place.
I'm in the blue-collar workforce now, so, you know, I just work every day, or not every day, but it's physical. It's very physical, and I'm tired.
Which is hard to do in Arizona. Like, I'll see how long this lasts for you, dude, but, like, I can't imagine doing what you're doing now in the summer. Like, I'd rather die.
We'll see.
So, I would die. I actually, like, legitimately probably would. From heat exhaustion.
We'll see.
Congratulations on that.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you in the next one.
Bye.